Chinese culture. For many Belizeans, the Chinese community is regarded as an ancient culture, shrouded in otherworldly myths. And while their rich culture may support these flights into fantasy, there is much more that we may stand to learn from the Chinese community. Of all the ethnic groups, the Chinese are most easily distinguished from the masses. For the most part, the Chinese are identified by their complexion, which is very light, not unlike Belize's European ancestors. The Chinese are also distinguished by their hair, which is typically black and possessed a very fine and delicate texture. One feature that identifies most Chinese and distinguishes them from others would be their slant and striking eyes. Belizeans today have embraced the Chinese community, but for many, Chinese culture is as much a mystery then as when they first arrived. After slavery was abolished in Belize in 1838, the Chinese were brought to work as indentured or contract laborers in the mid-1860s. In 1865, about 470 Chinese laborers arrived in Belize to work on newly established sugar estates in the Corozal and Orange Walk districts. Most of them were male. By the following year, about 100 of them were dead. Overwork combined with the shock of a new diet and the environment, all very alien to them, were considered reasons for the death of the earliest Chinese immigrants to Belize. Many that arrived that first year chose to relocate to Quintana Roo or elsewhere in the hope of starting a new life for themselves away from the plantations. In 1871, as the Chinese left the estates in search of better prospects, the importation of Chinese laborers and contract workers on the plantations was deemed a failure and was discontinued. The Chinese musical instruments. It can trace its history to several thousand years ago. Each of them produces a different and unique sound and effect. These musical instruments not only entertain people but also play an important part in traditional Chinese culture. Now, let us have a look at some of the famous Chinese instruments. You have the guzheng, which is the plucked zither, the dizi, or bamboo flute, the suana, also called laba, the big drum, the xiao, which is the vertical flute, and the erhu, the Chinese violin. And now we move on to the famous lion dance. It is a traditional Chinese dance performed on big occasions, such as the Spring Festival or Chinese New Year, for good luck, as it is believed that the lion is an auspicious animal. It is performed in a lion costume, accompanied by the music of beating drums, clashing cymbals, and resounding gongs. Lion dances imitate a lion's various movements or demonstrate martial arts agility depending on the style. The dragon dance is another form of a traditional dance. It is performed in the Chinese culture like the lion dance. It is most often seen in festive celebrations. The dance is performed by a team of dancers who manipulate a long, flexible figure of a dragon using poles positioned at regular intervals along the length of the dragon. The dance team mimics the supposed movements of the river spirit in a sinuous and undulating manner. The Chinese beliefs. According to a latest survey, 85% of Chinese people have religious beliefs or had some religious practices, and only 15% of them are real atheists. 185 million people believe in Buddhism, and 33 million have faith in Christianity and believes in the existence of God. Only 12 million people are Taoists, although more than 100 million have taken part in Taoism activities before. The other major religions are Taoism, Confucianism, Islam, and Christianity. However, you can see that Buddhism has the widest influence. They also believed in getting married in red as it poses for good luck. Chinese clothing. Chinese people were wearing silk while other cultures were still dressing in animal skins. Clothing in China did not only evolve over time, it often transformed dramatically following dynastic changes or the imperial decree of a new ruler. In ancient feudal society, people's rank and position could easily be distinguished from their daily dress. especially for the ordinary people and upper class. Among the upper dominating class, only to the emperor was assigned the color yellow and the dragon emblem on traditional Chinese imperial dress as an exclusive affirmation of their power. There is no typical Chinese costume, although today if any one style of clothing epitomizes Chineseness, it would be the Chiangazum or Kipao, which evolved from ancient clothing of the Manchu ethnic minority. Popular because it fits the Chinese female figure well, has simple lines and looks elegant. It is suitable for wearing in all seasons by young or old and can either be long or short. It is recognized around the world and has inspired many foreign adaptations because of its simple yet exotic lines. It is popularly worn in northern China as the wedding dress, traditionally red, embroidered with elaborate gold and silver designs. Brides in southern China wear kipao, or a two-piece dress named kunga or kwa, which is also elaborately adorned with a gold dragon and phoenix pattern. The Chinese food. Chinese dishes are famous for color, aroma, taste, meaning, and appearance. Here we have the dumplings that help to increase wealth, the wonton soup, the liang kai, and the bat bo fan. Their contributions to Belize. Today, the Chinese population is roughly about 2% of the entire population. Despite this seemingly small number, the Chinese have made quite an impact on Belize. They have maintained the richness of their culture, including food, customs, and language. Though many of them have adopted a Belizean identity and are at home here, the knowledge of the past and an appreciation for their culture has made them an example of having to their credit the kind of cultural pride and affinity that can foster nature building. So much pride that one of their very own, Lee Mark Chang, is a Belizean politician and a restaurateur, a member of the United Democratic Party. He was the first ethnic Chinese person to hold the post of President of the Senate of Belize. Not to mention that most of the Chinese have dominated the economic industry in our country and has the most stores, hardware stores, supermarket, and restaurants here. The Chinese have also provided the Belizean people with their delicacy known as fried chicken, fried rice, chow mein, and overall have contributed majorly in the income and revenue area to our Belize country.